Welcome back to Breakfast Central. If you're just tuning in, thank you for joining us. You've missed a lot, but we have the newspaper front pages, which we'll be reviewing shortly. And this is the point where you also get to be a part of the show as we open the phone lines and you can call in. But joining us this morning to review the front pages is public affairs analyst Rasaq Olokoba. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good to have you. Let's head into the Punch newspaper. The front page of the Punch newspaper this morning reads, local government autonomy, 13 states rush to hold council polls. Bauchi fixes local government poll for August 19th. Kogi election holds October 19th. Jigawa, Imo, Anambra, Abia, Katsina, Kebbi, Benue set for exercise. At the top of the paper, minimum wage, Labour threatens 30-day strike. Alleges plan to decentralize talks. Federal government warns 22 states of 5-day massive flooding. NNPCL meets military, police to curb oil theft. Food security, reps invite CDS minister over ungoverned spaces. One killed, journalist shot in Kenya, fresh protest, not again. Court declines Emefiele's request for foreign medical trip. Crypto billionaire techpreneur arrested for alleged fraud and terrorism funding. U.S. promises timely delivery of attack helicopters to Nigeria. That's all on the front page of the Punch. Let's head over to the next paper.
All right, on the Daily Trust newspapers this morning, domestic airfares. Trump regional tickets. It's very interesting. It says Lagos-Abuja flights cost 250,000 naira and about 233,000 naira to Accra in Ghana, which of course, is very worrisome for a lot of Nigerian travelers who are still hopeful of touring the continent. But anyway, aside that story this morning, we also have after Supreme Court ruling, state governments race to conduct local government polls. Kano government signs bill creating 3 second-class emirates. Zamfara attack. 5 women escape as 5 men are killed. Or rather, 5 men killed by bandits are buried. Also on the Punch newspapers this morning, 14 dead in Jigawa road crash. PDP governors meet in Enugu to discuss NWC and rivers issues. Rwanda's Kagame wins 4th term with 99% of the votes. Very interesting. AFCFTA, Tinubu launches inaugural shipment to Egypt, Kenya, and others. These are the major stories on the Daily Trust newspapers this morning.
Let's begin with the Punch newspaper. Let's go back to the Punch newspaper and look at the stories on the front page of the Punch newspaper. There are so many to look at, but I think we should start with the minimum wage. Let's not look at minimum wage again. Let's look at the massive flooding. Federal government wants 22 states of 5-day massive flooding. Flooding has been a problem that we've faced, and we're still facing it. The past week, we did see heavy rainfalls here in Lagos and different parts of the country. Would you say that so far we've made adequate move to prepare ourselves for the flooding? For what, these are sometimes many people will say the results of climate change. But the government has a role to play in terms of clearing the drainages and preparing the state. So would you say that we've done good work so far to prepare ourselves for the incoming flooding?
Flooding is a global challenge. And countries of the world who are found culpable in harassing the nature made preparation for the challenge that we are facing today long ago. They have institutions in place. Perforation of ozone layer has led to global warming, and in the Arctic, ice as big as the whole of Africa has caved in, and that's why what led to surging of water into countries of the world, acidic rain. So in Nigeria, we have our own peculiarity, and we must not go at the pace the rest of the world are going, and that is why I commended the Lagos State government for bringing back Saturday environmental. There are things you have not done in your own country, and you want to move at the pace. You see, America knew what they are doing to the space.
So you think the Saturday environmental is a way for us to combat flooding?
They have emergency situation for some of these challenges. They knew that a day like this will come. But Africa is not part of that abuse. We didn't know. It was a shock to us that some of these things are happening to us. So the Saturday environmental is to build that into your consciousness. I was coming this morning, I saw something. I will also engage the Minister of Environment about it, the way the workers are doing their work. So if you don't build that into the consciousness of people, still pour their refuse into the drainage up to today. But Saturday environmental brings that consciousness. You drop something on the road, something you clear yesterday with the neighborhood, you see somebody doing it again. So you raise alarm over it.
Maybe the question would be, let's even ask Nigerians. I want to let them know that the phone lines are open and ask them if they're willing to come out for Saturday environmental, and if it should be something that should be optional, or if it's obligatory. Because I personally, I will not come out to clean.
When challenges
because I have people who clean my house. Then you now tell me to come out on Saturday and be clearing.
When challenges are called, that means you are not trying to build yourself into.
I will pay. I pay service fee for a certain reason so that I can.
If you come out, might be superficial. You might not. I'm not saying you should carry it. Can be. No. That's what I'm saying. You can engage someone to do it for you on Saturday. It's not compulsory you do it. But what you are saying is that the arrangement we made for what is happening today in Africa is not enough. And we have accused America and Europe and all of them that all these emissions, it's not from us. Why must we pay the same penalty for you? You must pay penalty. So the crisis is on ground already. And they knew how they take care of themselves. So for us, if you don't take care of nature, nature will harass you. All this flooding, we have to take extra steps in ensuring that those floods no longer occur again. So it's a challenge that we don't have to use the regular method the rest of the world are using. There's no Saturday, people don't restrict movement. But when challenges like this come, movement will be restricted. COVID-19.
You have made this a responsibility of the citizen, and you have not highlighted the role that the government has to play. But
the government has agencies that sweeps, that clear drainages. But what I mean is that it has to be complemented. For particularly Lagos, the resources in the hand of Lagos is not the same resources that is in the hand of Bayelsa or other state. But the responsibility of Lagos is far higher than any other state. And I've said this, nobody has challenged me, that upon expert research that was conducted, Lagos should not people more than 10 million in population. But today we're over 25 million. So when you want to make Lagos safe for all of us, the role is not meant for only the government alone. Okay. That reality was down on us.
I don't want us to waste too
Let's
much,
not say exactly, but just to let our audience know that if you want to be a part of this conversation or any of the conversations we're having this morning, if you want to react to the Saturday environmental, in fact, we should ask you, would you come out if the government says every last Saturday of the month you must come out to clean and clear the gutters in your environment? Will you come out? The numbers.
Yeah, the numbers on your screen. I just wanted to mention that it's currently just Lagos State. It's not a nationwide.
So let's start. I mean, that's how it usually starts. It starts from one state and then it can go around.
And I did mention yesterday.
Other states have never cancelled for one day. Some states have not cancelled. Some states have not cancelled for one day.
I don't know any state that is still doing.
In Kwara, in Ondo, in Ekiti. No, they still observe it today.
I stayed in Delta State for a while, and I can't remember really doing it.
Saturday of the month. It's still there.
Okay.
I don't want us to waste more time on this. I did say earlier that I feel like when I hear stories like this, it sounds like I'm going back to 1997 in 2024. And it really is a sign that there's not been actual, a lot of, visible development with regards waste management and taking care of our environment in the last 15, 20 years. That's why we're going back to what we used to do in 1996 or 1994, and that's the way that it feels. If you're still trying, I'm just saying the way that it feels. No, Mr. I want us to.
Let me say,
I'm only just saying the way that it feels to me.
Arrogant citizens.
It's not arrogant. I'm only Mr. Olokoba.
Countries with 1 billion population, they declare a few days in a year for what we call Saturday environmental sanitation in India, in China, and the way our population kept increasing, we must adopt their model. Why must we always adopt a model?
I don't know. I can't categorically say that happens in China. I do not know. But if it does happen, it's in a country where the people feel that the government has done its own part. The kind of technology, the modern best practices that are employed in China, we don't even have anything close to that.
When you have population, did you get it there?
They also have population.
Little do you have in certain aspect of your.
Okay.
Can we please?
We'll talk about this. Let's move to another conversation.
There's the story on the Punch on local government autonomy. So just quickly share your thoughts on the developments with regards to that. It says here 13 states rush to hold council polls. Bauchi fixes to Okoba poll for August 19th. Kogi election holds October 19th.
I'm sure Mr. Olokoba is not excited by this at all.
I'm not excited, but of course, local government autonomy would tame the political and financial rascality of some governors. Of course, to do that. Now, the dependent they are going to have, the chairman of local government will not be like before. But it comes with its own challenges. It will create its own challenges. And one of which is the ancestral issues that are raised, that the local government, state government forced local government with the last model to play their role. That was what informed the question of Jack. When you clear a drainage that belongs to the state, to complement it by the local government, it becomes difficult. That was led due to that creation of that Jack. So, compulsorily, if there's a project that binds state and local government together, that fund will be used to address it. But because of the independence that we are giving to them now, they will set another priority. And I know in most local government, they don't buy into the priority they have to do, except if Nigerians stand up to it. And how many governors have we stand up to compel them to do the right thing? Which is my challenge. Now we have 774 local government to stand up to. But if, like we have said before, that they create more local government, but let it be optional for the state to take charge of whatever they do. And that is when resource goes back to the state. So let's see how this is going to work. Let's look at it. And areas of challenges, we must be able to ensure that we manage it, because it's going to come with its own challenges. So for the governors, it shows clearly that they didn't manage their state well. Any state government that is still having a caretaker committee now in the state shows clearly that it's not patriotic to Nigerians. So it means that if there's no autonomy, it will still be caretaker. That's unfair to Nigerians. That's unfair to, and we must put all those governors under our sanction. We have to be very careful of some of those governors. It means that they are part of the challenge we are having, because when local government is in charge of its fund, complete fund, the whole question of alleviation of poverty will not rely solely on the effort the federal government is making. It's going to come to state, it's going to come to local government. So it means that the governors are barricading the local government chairman from having access to their fund. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but do you expect, and I think it's a thing that I probably should point out, that regardless of what level of autonomy local government gets, the same mentality of leadership will also exist, even at the local government level.
It will not change, and which is the concern around that institutions is what compel public officers to do the right thing. And with what has happened now, it has further weakened our institution. And that's why I'm saying that when Rosie came up with the system of government, all Nigerians dragged him to that direction. So it's not the decision of the president today now also. When we begin to see a fallout of this, so we must all remember, you are in support, she's in support. So when that time comes, and people like us start raising concerns about it, you must remember that it was a joint decision. But me, I'm not part of that decision.
All right. Okay. Before we move to the next paper, I think it's a very important story to take still on the Punch. NNPCL meets military and police to curb oil theft. Now, there was a report yesterday that Nigerian refineries lost $1.8 billion to oil theft in 9 years. Do you have any hope for this? Is this just, lip service, really?
When crime has at the international dimension, naturally it becomes very difficult to solve. If you look at what Dangote has said, the richest man in Africa, if he expresses that kind of concern and he has challenge in running his business, that means you should take the crisis in the oil sector seriously. And that's why all of us must be all coming. Let's quickly remind the president again that to secure resources in states, the state must be assigned that responsibility by giving them a state police. See, this thing resides in the land that belongs to the state. All these resources we are talking about. When state governors complement in securing the oil, the gold, the bitumen, the alum, the californium, it's going to strengthen our property, the security of our property. So one of the easiest way out of it is state police. And one, make it easy for us to have license to mine oil. It shouldn't be a privilege. It shouldn't be the Dangotes, the hotel dollars that should have. In fact, all states will have their mining, their refinery, two per state. By the time you do that, you are going to take attention of people who hold oil sector by the jugular. It's going to take the attention away, because how many people will you sabotage if it's not only Dangote that is refining? If all the states are doing, will you start sabotage 36 states? They don't have that kind of strength. So that's why we have to begin to guide the president. I have a responsibility to make sure that the people who don't vote for the president is happy, because they're not happy with the president at the moment. So it's my role, my moral responsibility to guide the president, that there are people who don't like you yesterday and today. And if we say this kind of thing, it shows clearly that we love the president. I won't be a yes man to the president. I will always tell him the truth. Let people who feel that we are doing the wrong thing by directing him continue with their opinion. My own opinion is that the president needs to pay attention to structural challenges of this country. One of it is the oil sector. The oil sector, we are going to come out of it. If you make it easy to refine our oil, all these multinational refineries, let them have access to it. Then most of our refineries should be in the south-south. It is of fear. Most of the refineries, the licenses, should be given to people from Niger Delta. People who have resources in their own region too. Let people from that region have access to their own resources too.
Okay.
70% of access to the oil in this country should be the people of Niger Delta. If you don't do this, the peculiarity we have in Nigeria will always drag us to the fact that
So
don't expect
while you're telling the president the truth,
yeah,
if you had a one-on-one, or if anyone was to ask you, would you, do you think that the current Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has what it takes?
Yes, of course, but that's a challenge we have with the current president.
Which is?
Once the president wastes time in dismantling the responsibility of the president by devolving to the state, they take over his affairs.
So
And it's gradually happening.
No, say I don't
When Jonathan
understand
was
that.
there,
When the president wastes
when
time,
the president wastes time in devolution of power, Obasanjo didn't even believe in it. Jonathan wasted 6 years of our time in thinking that when they come, they pay attention to it. Buhari had little faith.
What do you mean by
structuring.
devolution of powers now?
Devolution of power, what I mean is that the role the president play in Nigeria is too much. He's the one in charge of security, the police,
Okay.
25 million people. Power sector is Mr. President. Oil is Mr. President. Earth is Mr. President. Tell me any country in the world where
No,
this
but I
kind of
mean,
work-
if
where
that's
they
not-
work. So
if
if
that's
I
not
have
going to
one-on-one,
happen,
if I have one-on-one with the president,
Yes.
the question I will ask him is that what did he think he wants to do to make this structure work that the previous president has not attempted to do? Nothing. There's nothing new he wants to do to make this structure work, other than the fact that he should realize that the past president that run this country with this security structure had the challenge they had because they thought the structure can achieve anything for Nigeria.
So you don't-
And
so you don't- you
and
don't
I'm
think
and
it
I'm
is
beginning to see that
you don't
picture,
think it's
and I will
incompetence
tell
of
him
the
that
person?
I'm beginning to see that picture in you, Mr. President, that you think this structure can achieve anything.
Okay.
It can't.
So you don't think it's the incompetence of the person in office and the people around him? You think it's the structure?
It's a structural issue.
I know you've always been a structural person. Let's move away from here
Let's go
quickly
to the
because
Daily
we're
Trust,
running
please.
out of time. Let's move to Daily Trust newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Trust, domestic affairs trump regional tickets. Lagos to Abuja flight cost 250,000 naira, but 233,000 naira to Accra. Shortage of aircraft hits industry. How to stop racketeering, says operator. Now there's a graphic here that shows the major interstate airfares. Lagos to Abuja one way 280,000, Kano to Abuja 230,000. So it ranges between 190,000 to 280,000 depending on the airline. Then return flights Lagos to Abuja 500,000. These monies we are hearing are what we used to go abroad before, but now it's even seeming that going to Ghana is a lot cheaper than going to Abuja.
I built a house for someone 11 years ago, 2-bedroom flat, as a contractor. I built it with 2 million naira, 3-bedroom flat. I improvised, I didn't use ties. The same person gave me another job to build 2 boys quarter for him. I built the same price I built 3-bedroom flat too. 11 years ago is what I spent in building 2 boys quarter, and he couldn't finish it. So that shows you that we are in a very, very big problem. So for me, the way out of it is one, which what we kept saying is that we need to assign, we need to tell the government, maybe this autonomy is part of our move to drag the governors to play their role, because rural area is actually the bigger brother of the urban centers. If the rural areas are not taken care of, that's where I come to the question of peculiarities. Resources raw materials come from rural areas. So we must pay attention. Food and other essential things of life play very substantial role in the prices of commodities. People go to market to buy the same thing. So the businessmen who operate other sectors, transportation and some of these things, will not consider the prices of food without fixing their price. So they consider the price of other commodities, which goes to the landlord too. The landlord didn't buy in block, but the landlord who is using his private property to run business will also consider how much the children is paying for school fees, the transportation, before he is going to fix his rent. So the way out of it, like we have said over and over again, is that it's not to address our problem in isolation. The challenge in the airline sector is not because the guys in charge are not patriotic. It's because we have challenges in our areas of life. So let's look at our challenges simultaneously if we want to come out of it. We can't say, oh, the prices of what are we going to do about it? It's an umbilical cord. Once the prices of food keeps going up, it's going to affect other areas of life.
Who do you blame for the price of food continuing to rise?
Who do I blame? It's government. It's the government.
So do you blame the government or do you blame the structure once again?
No. See, the challenge we have with the food in Nigeria is as a result of the characters of some of the governors in our state, which is misplaced priority. There is no state in Nigeria that cannot produce one crop or the other. But go there, they are constructing roads that have no direct impact to the life of the people. And there are rural areas where food can be brought into the city, they abandon it. I can give an example of my own state, where a food in the Kwara North can feed the rest of the whole of West Africa. Well, the government is assigning 20 billion naira to construct a bridge that is 500 meters to another bridge. Yeah. So, and that is the pattern in all the states. Even if Lagos that has no land has immortalized, they have planned to start do something about fishery. That state that has land that is 20 times bigger, like Niger State, than Kwara, than Lagos, like all those bigger states.
So if at the end of this first 4 years of the current administration, food inflation hits 50%, maybe even 60%, would you say that Mr. President is not to blame, it's the governors?
No, for the prices of commodities.
Yeah.
No, with the trend of things that is going on now, I think the governors have been given a marching order by the president.
I'm just asking. This is what I'm asking.
To blame
if at the end of the first 4 years, in 2027, we see that food inflation, which is currently about 40%, is at 50, 55, maybe 60%, would you say that President Bola Tinubu failed?
I can't see prices of commodities coming down.
No, that's not the answer. I'm asking,
what I'm saying is that,
would you say that the
at the beginning
failed?
of this government, of this government, I have told you that I don't have any hope that the first 4 years of this government will reflect on our life with this particular this structure, which has answered your question. That there's nobody under the sun that can achieve what you have in mind.
In those points, because you said that you're going to be honest with the president. So would you be able to say to Mr. President in 2027 that you failed? If we don't see any improvement, and we've seen that things have been reasonably way worse than they've ever been.
It's 50-50. I will blame Mr. President for the structure, for not restructuring, and I will tell him that is what is responsible.
And then who has the other half?
Then the second 50 of the blame,
which
is not going to blame, which is going to be a praise. That any president that has locomoted Nigeria with this secretive political and didn't collapse on his head for 4 years has done his best.
No.
With this secretive political
structure. I mean, back to the
So don't let us create a blame game. Let's face our challenge. Let's have at the back of our mind. And I keep saying this. And you think I'm explaining this because I want to impress the president. I'm not saying.
Did you vote? Did you vote in 2012? Why did you vote?
Why did I vote?
Yeah, was it with the hope or the expectation that there would be devolution of powers and there would be restructuring?
Yes.
From who?
From the president, because we are part of it.
Yeah, but did Mr. President, say that was one of the things that he was going to do?
Yes.
He was going to restructure.
Yeah. And that has been my focus with him. You can say that I've been consistent about it, that I've been warning the president that don't please don't be tempted to
No,
think
what
that,
I'm asking is, did President Tinubu say when he was campaigning that one of the things that he must do is restructure Nigeria?
look at his manifesto.
I'm saying, did he say it?
It's part of his manifesto.
Okay.
When you say the structuring, you don't have to express it. But when you say you are going to look at the police institution, the way it is, we are going to do something about it. That's the structuring, the power sector.
You're going to look at it and do something about it.
Yeah, and do something about it. And the power sector, the way it is, cannot guarantee us 24-hour power supply. That's the structure. It's expressing it already. It's defining it. What it means.
It's not.
No. What I mean is
do something about
when
it.
you say the structuring, when you say the
Right.
structuring, the definition of structuring is what he has said. There are police institutions, which he has not started doing.
But
What I'm
Mr.
asking
Olokoba,
you is-
And that's my own area of agreement with you.
okay, Mr.
My own area of
Olokoba,
agreement is you is that, but our own area of disagreement is to pronounce that he has failed. To me, with this structure,
okay, but all of this conversation started because I asked you a question about the domestic airfares and how incredibly expensive they are. Jet A1 fuel is selling as high as 1,100 to 1,250 naira per liter.
Yeah.
So who would you say, or what would you say is the cause of this? Because you started talking about food, and I'm not quite sure how that relates to, the cost
I
of
said the
domestic
cost
airline.
of all those things is the reason why the price of other things are going up. You can't pin a sector down not to increase their price when the other sector, the prices are increasing. You can't pin it down, and that's why I recommended that let us look at the genesis of our challenge. The genesis of our challenge is that the oil and gas sector, at the state at which it is now at the moment, there can't be any succor for us, which has affected the airline sector. So if we are serious as a people, you can't. Tomorrow we'll talk about police again, and you say that I should not talk about other things. And the reason why we have security, the primary reason is because there is bad economy.
All right, there's so many angles to look at. I mean, when we're looking at this Jet A1, it's looking at the oil sector,
No,
looking
I
at
can't recommend subsidy.
suppliers,
The way to start, the best way to start, to have said that you should start subsidizing it, which I will not.
Okay, there's also the conversation about they've met with Dangote, the local domestic airline operators have met with Dangote. There's also the conversation about Dangote and NNPCL and the role that the government has played in, I mean, our guest yesterday said we should go and ask the government why they are trying to frustrate Dangote. And but that's a conversation for another day. Mr. Olokoba, thank you for joining us. We'll have you join us some other time
It's a
for more
pleasure being with you.
conversations.